Logic for you in the morning. Get your brain waking up, man, because we've got a lot to get into today. Before we get into all the craziness, and I will get the chat up here. I apologize. Give me a minute. Let's say what's up. Let's say good morning. How are all these beautiful people doing, man? Look at all these beautiful people. Holy hell. Trinity's in the building.
As you see,
Park is here. Jennifer Cook is here. Adam is here. Wes is here. Mike Porter's in the building. Star Wars Santa. Reefer Reviews. Mike Porter, Burke the Nerd, Renee, Nikki, Kendall, James. So many beautiful people. So many beautiful people. Audio is off? I have myself playing in the background? What the hell? What's happening? Chet? What just happened? What are they talking about in chat, man? Like, here's the thing. When I come in a funky groove, I don't need to be thinking about any of that bullshit. That's you. You think about that. You make sure it sounds good. You make sure I look good. Do me a favor. I know we haven't done it in a while. Stand up. Please, see yourself out. See yourself out. Respectfully, I will handle the rest of the show. Yeah, it's okay. No, you really let me down this time. You really let me down. But it's okay. All right, take care. All right, ladies and gentlemen, now to the fully produced by me morning stream. Let's do a little better. First of all, let's get this chat on the screen. See, that's not hard. That's not hard, chat. I know you're watching on your cell phone as you walk out of the tower. I know. I see it. I see it! Check this out, chat. Chat, listen to this. Check this out. It's pretty wild. Listen, watch this. I compose the music myself. Show notes! Show notes, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, Al Schuler. We're an Al Schuler channel now. So, executive producer Al Schuler, you know him, you love him. If you don't, learn. Al did a solo video on the channel yesterday. A lot of people loved Al in that video. Unfortunately, I think both of our videos got put in YouTube jail yesterday. So if you want to go give him some extra love, that would be really cool. I probably shouldn't have made everybody look naked on the one thumbnail. And then I probably shouldn't have mentioned Amber Heard in the other one. But you know what? Honestly, ladies and gentlemen, I care less and less about YouTube's stupid fucking rules and how I'm supposed to play the game. And on that note, I will say that if you are a Nerdvengers Prime member, you're going to want to come by this Sunday. I have a very interesting stream that I want to do with you. The Department of Justice filed an antitrust lawsuit against Google. The implications of that are actually pretty crazy, particularly for YouTubers. Directly, this will affect YouTubers for the next couple of years. It's pretty wild. So I want to get into that. But regardless, the point is, the real point, the juice, is that everybody loved Al, man, and he did a great video. He made a great video. So kudos to Al. You're going to be seeing a lot more of Al on the main channel. You're going to be seeing more of Lavis. You're going to be seeing more of Ryan as well. Just a lot more videos on the main channel. So make sure you're going over there, smashing like, giving the love, okay? Also, we have After Dark tonight. After Dark tonight. I assume Al and Lavis are going to talk about all kinds of juicy stuff. I'm sure they've got to take on the Leto bit. I'm sure they got to talk a little bit of Leto. So you're definitely going to want to watch the boys take you around town tonight at, I believe, 9 p.m. is when we are starting. Okay? So, where to begin today? Where to begin today? Well, we, of course, know all about the news from yesterday. Right? Everybody saw the Leto story. Yes. Let me know in chat. Yes, you guys know. How about this? Here's where we can go to right away with the chat. This is what I want to know with all of you, okay? Yes or no? For Leto. Yes or no? Because we're going to get into that because there's a lot of people that are like, yo, fuck Leto, dude. What? There's a lot of Snyder Cut bros that are like, I don't know about this shit. We're going to get into all of it. But just give me a little bit of a feeling, man. What's the temperature out there, ladies and gentlemen? Yes or no? You let me know. Yes or no when it comes to Leto. And come on into the theater at your leisure. I'm going to get us set up. So we're going to take a peek at this Hollywood Reporter article. And I am going to check the chat. Keep letting me know. Yes or no. Ladies and gentlemen, yes or no. By the way, today's going to be kind of a wild show. I was saying this at the beginning of the show when Chet was fucking everything up. I know you're still watching, Chet. No, you're not getting your 30 cents today. All right, let's see what y'all are saying. See what y'all are saying. I could do a poll. You're right. Holy shit. You guys are getting wild. Okay. Yes, yes, yes. No. Nah. Yes, yes. No. Yes. Meh. Poll. Fuck Leto. No. Yeah. Bashti Vij. Wait, what? I don't know what you're talking about there. Yes, yes, yes. Nope. Yes. Fuck Leto. Absolutely no. Oh, man. So, you know what I'm sensing just looking at what you guys are saying? So, a lot of people are like, yes, but there's a lot of people. The people that are no are like, hard no. You know what I mean? Like, the people that are no are like, hard no. And I can respect that. I can respect that. By the way, just so you know, just so we're aware, so that we're on the same page here, I'm not going to get into the specifics of Leto and the Joker thing and like speculating about all that for a while today. I wasn't kidding at the beginning of this stream. Look, this is one of those selfish streams for me where I'm going to talk about Hollywood shit. I'm going to talk about business shit. I'm going to talk about shit that's on my mind. I'm going to pontificate about what I think is really going on here because it is fascinating to me. But just being real, it might not be for everyone. So if this isn't your kind of thing, today's stream ain't for you. Or maybe come back in like 40 minutes and then we'll be talking more about like the actual like what does this mean for the DCEU kind of thing, okay? But here's the thing. This article by the Hollywood Reporter is a friggin' crazy bombshell of an article. And for all the reasons that nobody noticed. And I shouldn't say nobody because there's plenty of smart people out there that did notice. But it's not the sexy thing to talk about. But we're going to talk about it. Okay. So, exclusive by Boris Kit. Let's just read this and let's just absorb the language used here. It's fascinating. Jared Leto, who played the classic DC villain in the Joker's 2016 Suicide Squad, has joined in the shooting of additional footage for the Snyder Cut, the filmmaker's definitive version of the 2017 superhero movie. He was forced to exit. I will have to check, but this may be one of the first times I have ever seen one of the Hollywood trades refer to what happened to Zach in even close to this type of tense. He was forced to exit. He was forced to exit? So he was forced to exit. Okay. And never saw through completion. Multiple sources tell the Hollywood Reporter. Make no mistake, we're not going to linger on this too much, but that's a fucking bombshell. That's a nuclear bomb in the basically second paragraph of your article. The project, officially titled Zack Snyder's Justice League, is being overseen by HBO Max, which is financing the new round of shooting and the completion of the many unfinished scenes, and will air as a 4-episode event next. Rounds of shooting for the completion of many unfinished scenes. New rounds of shooting and the completion of many unfinished scenes. Do you understand? And you know, look, we're going to get there. We're going to get there. Okay. So much like a good story, you might not know exactly where I'm going with this for a little bit. Just follow me. I promise you we'll bring it home. And the completion of many unfinished scenes. Why is this important? Well, Hollywood, particularly when it comes to the Snyder Cut, and this is going to get into some kind of crazy macro ideas, but There were certain camps within the Hollywood studio system that were literally putting out misinformation, disinformation, or real news that would intercept the hype of Snyder Cut stuff, and they literally were trying to kill it. And I'm not going to be shy about it. Yes, it's Jeff Johns. Absolutely, it's Jeff Johns, and it's that camp of people. They were absolutely trying to squash this idea in the press. Many of the Hollywood trades had access to people within the studio that were under Jeff Johns or direct contact with Jeff Johns. Jeff Johns, from what I've heard, is one of the biggest leakers of DC stuff, period. And so for the Hollywood studio to first say he was forced to exit and then say additional new rounds of shooting and the completion of many unfinished scenes. That is a narrative change, ladies and gentlemen. The narrative before was just this part, completion of many unfinished scenes. You know what this is? This is, in my opinion, this is the trades realizing they cannot just keep being a mouthpiece and have any credibility moving forward. At least the beginning of that realization dawning upon the Hollywood trades. Okay? Shooting is currently underway with Ben Affleck, Ray Fisher, and Amber Heard. What? Again, a bombshell. A bombshell. If you really deconstruct this sentence, shooting is currently underway with Ben Affleck. Yay! Ray Fisher. Yay, but what's going on with that? And Amber Heard. What the fuck? That's basically it's like a tat-tat-tat. That's it. It's like, yay! Okay. What the fuck? That's basically it. That's the rhythm of it. Among these involved, on top of Leto, it is unclear if other actors are involved. I mean, damn. And if you really want to go there, we can go there. My stance on Amber is the same that it's always been. I think divorces are ugly. Am I personally a fan of Amber? No. Is my opinion of her affected by some of the things that I heard? Yes. Do I think it should affect her career? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Period. The end. Even as shoots roll ahead, two producers who were involved with the theatrical movie are quietly moving to the side. John Burt and Jeff Johns. Then studio execs who oversaw the film and the reshoots maybe, by Joss Whedon that was meant to salvage the failed movie. What the fuck is that bullshit? Anyway, we will not be receiving producer credit on the Snyder Cut, sources say. Okay. So the headline here is, and by the way, does this look okay? Wow, you guys can't see anything. Maybe I did need shit. How long have you guys been staring at nothing? For a while? Cool. Just want to make sure. I just wanted to make sure everyone was staring at nothing. That was my goal for the day. Dude, where the fuck? Why can't I get this to work? All right, here we go. There we go. There we go. All right, class. We're back. We're back. Everybody relax. The whole time? The whole time? Pretty much the whole time? Cool. All right, let's keep going. So the title of the article is Jared Leto to play Joker in Zack Snyder's Justice League. But the article really, what the article really is, what it really is let's clear some fucking shit up with y'all. Right? That's what the article really is. Jared Leto, blah, 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 blah. He was forced to exit. Now you can actually see it. Kind of. There we go. Now you can actually see it. He was forced to exit. Mm-hmm. financing the new round of shooting and the completion of many unfinished scenes. Shooting is currently underway with Ben Affleck, Ray Fisher, Amber Heard. All right. Now are we caught up? Sources close to Berg and Johns have confirmed the duo's intention to remove their names from the Snyder Cut since they did not work on this version and are no longer studio executives. Yeah. So, yeah. The way I read that is, look, you have to understand. Sources close to Berg and Johns. What that probably means is like people that are going to paint things in a positive light from that camp, which is fine. I mean, that's the game. I'm not really like concerned about that. But the point is the lensing is important to try to decipher the truth, right? They've confirmed the duo's intention to remove their names from the Snyder Cut because they would get dragged through the streets like Cersei in Game of Thrones if they didn't, is basically the more correct way to write that. You know what I mean? I think. The sources also say that the move pays respect to Snyder's creative vision and the additional photography shoot. Sure, okay. Okay, so they kind of keep talking about a little bit more about Berg and Johns. They talk about Suicide Squad, which is interesting. They don't really go for it. They're probably not allowed to go for it, but it's interesting. So, ladies and gentlemen, what do you think? Like, what do you think of this article? Do you kind of get where I'm coming from with this article? This article is crazy to me. Like this thing is crazy. So many things. Have you ever heard of the expression setting the record straight? Have you ever heard that expression? Setting the record straight? That's what this feels like. That's what this feels like to me. It feels like the studio trying to get ahead of some coming PR type announcements. That's what it feels like. And so why is this such a big deal to me? Why does this feel like such a big deal? Because look, all right. Let's talk about this. What happened at Warner Brothers around these films? We're talking about the Snyder Cut. We're talking about Suicide Squad. Birds of Prey. You know, you can throw a whole bunch of movies into this. What was happening with Warner Brothers was a bad look. Ladies and gentlemen, it was a very bad look. Especially once Batman v Superman sort of floundered. You know what I mean? Like once its initial reception was not good, and then, you know, a lot of people turned on Zack's vision. Jeff Johns, John Berg, and Joss Whedon, and a lot of these other people were ready. They were like ready to pounce. They cut up David Ayer's Suicide Squad. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, it's a Frankenstein film. Okay? And so I guess partially the big thing there for me, and again, this is not really what we're talking about. We're talking more about the Hollywood stuff because that's where I want to frame this. But my personal opinion on Leto, give him a real shot, dude. Like, give him a real shot, and I need to see what the actual first performance was. You know what I mean? I need to see that. I need to see it. Right? So, that Suicide Squad movie is very different. I'm talking about the theatrical one, the Oscar-winning. If it doesn't show you what a fucking joke a lot of these Hollywood institutions are. And oh my God, am I going to fucking shit on Hollywood in a couple minutes here. I'm going to shit all over him. Fucking bedpan, dripping hot diarrhea shitting. I'm going in. But for now, let's focus on the Suicide Squad. That movie is a hack job of what the original vision was. And the thing was that in the scripting phase, there was so much connective tissue between the Suicide Squad and the Snyder Cut. And not just the Snyder Cut, because at that time it was just called fucking Justice League. But beyond that, into Zack's other films, into the future, into what he wanted to tell. That story, that big one. The Suicide Squad had tied into that. Steppenwolf was originally in the script. The Joker and Steppenwolf have some really cool interactions in that original script. You know what I mean? Now, apparently, depending on who you ask, that stuff was actually not filmed. A lot of that stuff was not filmed. They had already kind of shifted away from it by the time they went into filming. But even then, what David put together was then hacked apart and re-put together by the studio and by like a trailer editing team. Okay? So this is the kind of shit that's like, because I'm about to tell you about a conversation I had with a friend last night that really was the catalyst for this stream today. Because we were talking about Hollywood, we were talking about business, and we were sort of arguing. And it made me realize a couple of different things. And, you know, much like many other industries, fields, verticals, whatever fancy word you want to say, much like a lot of things in life, people have these crazy misconceptions. Fucking crazy misconceptions. Like, I was making the argument last night that the director is this romanticized thing. It's a product of, like old world film as well, and the come up of film, but really just Hollywood. Hollywood just kind of carried on like the French sort of respect of directors and that whole artsy-fartsy thing. They just took that and ran with it in Hollywood. It's not real. Directors and good directors it's just this bloated kind of a thing, right? And then like you think about what happened with David, where like he's a good director. He's done like some crazy good movies. I still think Training Day is just like a masterpiece. It's ridiculous, right? But even a guy like that, who's the director, right? This fucking romanticized thing, even that, the studio themselves was like, dude, we don't fucking care about you at all. Here's a trailer company. We're gonna go get we're gonna go get a trailer company to come in and cut your shit up, bro. And then you're just gonna have to fucking fall back. That's what Hollywood thinks of directors. You know what I mean? But at face value and for like a marketing PR kind of thing, the director matters. But it really only matters in the sense of theater. A lot of this is theater. You know? The moment AT&T came in to do the Snyder Cut, the moment they came in to seriously consider this, there was an insane amount of pushback within Hollywood and within Warner Brothers. Do you guys remember? I don't know if you remember this or not, but after the screening happened, I think it was in February, after the screening happened, there were reports and there were Hollywood mouthpiece motherfuckers coming out and telling you, yeah, the people saw it, everybody hated it. People saw it and executives hated it. Do you remember this? Do you remember the people that said that? And then do you remember the people that said, that's not what I heard? I do. I remember. Because you see, right from the beginning, it was a political thing. It was a Hollywood thing. It was a red tape, bougie bullshit thing. You know, it was ridiculous. And AT&T doesn't know anything about that world, and they don't know anything about the frickin' decorum of Hollywood. And they don't care. And so a telecommunications company came in, realized the intrinsic value of a thing, and made it happen. And not only did they make it happen, they made it happen while going into a headwind of resistance from pre-established powerful people. But what's a king to a god? You know what I mean? Like, we're talking money. Mountains of money. You know? And, one of the things I kind of said right away was that I think Hollywood is over the way that it was. It's done. Like, there's so much bloated bullshit in the Hollywood system already. Like, let's talk about guilds. Let's talk about guilds for a second. Okay? Tell me this isn't the most fucking gatekeeping, fucking ivory tower bullshit you've ever heard. It's ridiculous. You want to even put your name in the credits of a movie that's like MPAA approved or whatever. Like, I don't even know all of the fucking bullshit that goes on, but I do know that you have to pay. You got to pay to be in the Screen Actors Guild. You got to pay to be in the Writers Guild. You got to pay. Like, you pay. And then you get to put your name on shit. You know what I mean? And like a lot of like ghostwriting or spec scripts, because Marvel, for instance, one of the things maybe you didn't know about Marvel is constantly getting work in, constantly. Spec scripts, ideas, pitches, constantly. The Guardians of the Galaxy 1 was a spec script. Written by a young lady. I think, I was talking to my friend last night about, the Hollywood system, and like he's really concerned, and he's really concerned about all of this going away, and I'm just sitting here thinking like, please let it die, please. Like, let's shed that fucking snake skin of that system, get out of that system, and just create some banging content. You know what I mean? Like, we don't need all of that. That is nothing. That is literally nothing but hoops and ladders and secret handshakes. That's all it is. It's bullshit. And then I started to talk to my friend last night about Kevin Feige. Okay? Started to talk about Kevin Feige and the genius of Feige to realize that here's what it is. You want to know what the real genius of Feige is? Do you want to know what it really is? The genius of Feige is he realized nobody gives a flying fuck who the director of a movie is. And y'all are like, what? How can that can't be? We totally care. We care about the directors. We absolutely care about the directors. Wrong. I mean, maybe some of you do. Objectively, maybe some of you do. You are in a minority. You are in a very small percentage of the population. Most people don't actually care at all. At all. And on top of that, all the best directors and all the directors that you know and love, it is not their directing that makes their films brilliant. Lean in on this. Lean in on this. This is a really cool idea. I like this idea a lot. Give me some of your favorite directors. Just right now. Who are your favorite directors? Put them into the chat right now, and I'll explain this point. Let's get a little interactive with this shit. Give me your favorite directors. And I will explain something to you that will further emphasize the genius of Feige, and then we'll bring that shit home to why the Jared Leto thing is just another sign of this coming change. Who's your faves? Who's your faves? Russo brothers, great. Tarantino, brilliant. Ryan Coogler, amazing. Taika, brilliant. Nolan, of course. Edgar Wright, brilliant. Okay, Edgar Wright's a brilliant one. Let's start with Edgar Wright. The audacity of Kevin Feige to tell Edgar Wright to fuck off. The audacity of him. The nerve of that guy to tell Edgar Wright to fuck off. How could he do it? Well, Edgar Wright has story credit on Ant-Man. A lot of the really brilliant, funny ideas that Edgar had are still in Ant-Man. The Michael, I'm blanking on the dude's name, but like where he's summarizing events and they do that voiceover and stuff, that brilliant sequence. I don't know for sure, but I'm going to go ahead and say that feels very Edgar Wright to me. Probably came from Edgar Wright. And if you take it a step further, let's talk about like Baby Driver. Great Edgar Wright movie. Brilliant Edgar Wright movie, okay? But I would argue that the quality of Baby Driver as a film has next to nothing to do with Edgar Wright's directing. It has to do with Edgar Wright's producing. Okay, follow me on this. It has very little to do with his directing, because directing is just sitting in front of actors that are in front of cameras and watching them do their thing and then giving them direction. That's what directing is. Okay? Edgar Wright, brilliant director. But the quality of Edgar Wright films come from Edgar's ability as a producer, not a director. Director is a romanticized, and this comes from French and Italian film, it's a romanticized fucking word, position, etc. etc. Let's talk about some of these other ones you listed. Tarantino, brilliant example. And I would say actually that Tarantino is maybe he sort of flies in the face of what my theory here a little bit, because I would say that Tarantino, number one, he's maybe the last director that has actual draw on the base of his name as a director. Like, I don't think Nolan has it, Tenet. I don't think Nolan's got it. I think Tarantino has it. And I think he's maybe the last person that has it. Okay? But even Tarantino, even Quentin, if you really think about it, the value of his films, the juice, the fucking stuff, it doesn't come from his direction. For God's sakes, Tarantino is like a dictator about actors with his scripts. Actors do not make things up on the set of a Tarantino film. Actors do not play around on the set of a Tarantino film. An actor that is on a Tarantino film is paid to read the words that Tarantino says. And if Tarantino tells you to read it this way, you fucking read it that way. But even that, it's not really the direction. It's the script writing. It's the production. Taika Waititi. Do you really think that Taika's quality, the quality of a Taika Waititi movie, do you really think that shit comes from him pulling an actor aside between sets and saying, maybe you should try this? Do you really think that's where the value is coming from? No, that's just what's sexy. That's just what we refer to it as. But it's not true. It has very little to do with the directing. It has to do with the producing. And so, the brilliance of Feige. The brilliance of Feige. I don't need to be a director. And I don't need to stroke the ego of a director. We need to have a brilliant production. We need to have beautiful production. We need to have well thought out production. We need to have next level production. Feige realized that the audience that watches blockbuster movies are not the same people that are checking out the films that enter cans. There's a small overlap, but they're not the same group of people. The thing that was making the films valuable was the production side. It was not the direction side. And Ant-Man has some of the best Edgar Wright production pieces. So he leaves as director. His production is still in place, ladies and gentlemen. You understand? Like, you feel me? Do you understand? How are we doing? How are we doing? How are we doing? Am I just rambling into the void? Am I rambling into the void? Are you following? So what about Scott Derrickson's production? Well, Scott didn't do any actual script writing on Doctor Strange Into the Multiverse of Madness, but I'm sure he was in meetings, and I'm sure he did contribute to the production, which would be producing. I only half agree with you, Josh. All right. But are you following me? I think that's what's important. Are you following me? Are you following me? Okay. So, going back to getting Leto. Okay, what do you think of Del Toro? Del Toro's the same thing. Peter Jackson is the best example of this, actually. So when Peter Jackson pitched Lord of the Rings to Lionsgate, he had spent years producing. Years. They had the armor. They had the models. Weta was a kind of startup kind of thing at that point, right? So my man produced. Okay? Now, with a film like that, the directing is actually it's kind of challenging, you know what I mean? Because you gotta make sure that the actor's performance will match up with what's going on behind them. But what's going on behind them is almost completely production. Okay, I'm not talking about titles because, yes, many of these people are directors. Again, romanticized European fluff, secret handshake bullshit. Okay, they're a director. I'm talking about what are they actually doing? Where's the value actually coming from? You understand? You feel me? I follow you, but I feel like the role of director changes from person to person and set to set. No, wrong. Here's the correct way to say what you're thinking. What a director does will change person to person, set to set. What a director does will change. But that is not the same thing as saying the role of the director. The role of the director is to direct and to also, keep things, managed. But a lot of that is relying on producers. Most directors are producers on their films. But the job title, just because the sexy part of their job title is director, does not mean that where the value is coming from is from the direction. I know this is a nuanced point. I know this is pissing some people off. Because it pissed my friend off last night. My friend and I had a very nice argument about this. It was great. Now I'm arguing with you. Okay? So, let's take it back to Jared Leto. Jared Leto was so pissed off at the studio that this motherfucker wasn't willing to shoot anything for Birds of Prey. He signed on to do Morbius. Ladies and gentlemen. Okay? The move to get Leto back, though the vision of Zack, and ultimately, because he is a director, you will say, well, it's a director move. It's not. It's production. That has to do with the production of the movie, producing the movie, creating the movie, making it, right? So the decision to bring Leto in is a production move. You know what I mean? And AT&T's strategy on it is to say, hey, Zack, what do you need for your production? We're going to help you out. What do you need? What do you need for your production? Okay. So it is also important to note that most of the problems that happened with DC, remember, we just talked about this. We just talked about DC, right? What happened? Producer interference. Jeff Johns, producer interference. John Burke, producer interference. Okay? So those parties that really had the control, that were biting, because again, right? Like, think about it. David Ayer, like, oh, we love the director. This is directed by David Ayer, you know, et cetera, et cetera. You know, we care about directors. Well, why wasn't David Ayer's vision actually produced for the Suicide Squad? Because of other producers. Okay? You understand? He still was the director. He still got to sit in the fancy chair. He still got to have the byline. He still got paid for the thing, etc., etc. But the director's vision wasn't there. Just him being on set and directing the actors. That is functionally the only thing that David Ayer really did on that particular film. And so the future of Hollywood is to get rid of the red tape and the bullshit to understand where the actual value is being created, and it's on the production side, and then to focus on that and let a lot of the fluff and the bullshit fall away. You understand? Do you understand? Now, before we go any further, we get into Q&A, because I know everybody's got a lot of questions. Everybody's like, I can't believe this motherfucker just got in here and fucking just ranted for like an hour about Hollywood. This is fucking unbelievable. All right, so check this out. Let's check a little something else out here, okay? Hollywood, this is the Los Angeles Times, ladies and gentlemen. Hollywood has a talent pipeline problem. Interesting. Let's read on. The entertainment business has embraced modern technology when it comes to streaming shows, targeted ads, and using data to predict what you'll like. When it comes to hiring screenwriters, though, Hollywood is a Luddite, relying on personal relationship, phone calls, and list of proven scribes cobbled together by talent agencies and studio executives. It's a steaming pile of bureaucratic bullshit. Get it out of here! Get it out of here! That last part was me. Oscar-winning filmmakers Brian Grazer and Ron Howard said they've witnessed that problem during their nearly 4-decade-long partnership making movies, including Splash, A Beautiful Mind, Apollo 13. Promising writers blow years of their lives trying to get agents and have their work seen by the right people. It's called development hell for a reason. It's just hard. It's deeply flawed. So what are they doing to fix it? Their Los Angeles-based startup Impact Creative Systems has spent the last 2 years connecting up-and-coming talent with studios through its competitive Screenwriter Accelerator program, an 8-week boot camp that helps scribes get their scripts in shape to pitch executives. Pardon me, coffee burp. This week, the company expands with the launch of an app called the Creative Network, which allows executives to find talented writers and help them get work. If successful, Impact hopes to grow the app to change hiring for not just writers, but directors, crew, and other professionals. So, when will that make the switch? Let me explain something to you, okay? Where a lot of these things were already happening, right? But Rona has accelerated that, okay? People are going to get real fucking creative in the next couple of years. The fat's got to go. The revenue's got to increase. You got to cut out bloated business partner relationships. You got to get to the value. You got to get to the meat, okay? So here's the thing. The moment right now where, or let's talk about last year. Let's just go back to a pre-Rona world, okay? In 2019, most of what is happening for a studio is this bloated process of a bunch of motherfuckers getting paid way too much money to contribute very little. By the way, this is not unique to Hollywood. This is usually what happens with industries. It's called rent keeping, right? It's like this. It is a problem. It's a functional problem of capitalism, and it sort of creates these scenarios in which companies or entities have a certain amount of control over the marketplace, and they're actually not incentivized to innovate because they are just collecting rent on old paradigms. Okay? I hope you followed that. So, how does something like that change? Well, it's going to be whoever's at the tippy top, the actual fat cat. The actual fat cat is going to go out and have to tell their fat cat friends, hey, Johnny, I can't really have your company handling our talents agency stuff for the studio anymore. I can't really afford to pay you $50 million a year to do that. There's this app that's out there. It's free. It's going to save us $50 million. Johnny, I don't know what to tell you. We're not going with the app anymore. Or rather, we're not going with your company anymore. That's when things change. Because fat cats love making other fat cats rich until it interferes with their money. So we're going to find out who are the real fat cats, basically. You know what I mean? And a lot of fat cats that thought they were fat cats should be diversifying their portfolios. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Now, let's get into the questions. Let's get into the questions. Josh, do you think the Snyder Cut 4-episode release will be the blueprint for future movie releases? I think that's interesting. That's an interesting thought, Patricia. I'm not 100% on that. I think they will. I think the Snyder Cut is changing things in a lot of different ways. I don't know if that is one of the ways, but we'll see. We will see. So you are saying producers are the real fat cats. That's what Feige figured out. That is what Feige figured out, yeah. Are they leaking the Leto thing because something is coming up with Ray Fisher controversy? Very possible. Very possible. My local theater had been open for months. I've been 4 times. I need something big to see, so I will go back for the 5th time. I hear you, brother. I hope they do something good for you there. I don't know if they will, though. Cheddar Jack. My favorite cheese is burrata. Burrata. Burrata is the cheese. Getting rid of director star power would definitely make budgets leaner. Indeed. Same thing with movie stars. It's gone. It's a fossil. They just don't know it yet. Jalapeno haverata. Never had it. Sounds good. Nah, they'd announce a new Batman for the Ray Fisher stuff, too. Maybe they're running out of Batman. You know what I mean? Maybe they're running out of Batman, and they're like, fuck. Throw a Joker in there. Bougie cheese, I am. It's pronounced Havarate. Havarata. Gotcha. Do you think since we have Jared Leto Joker coming back and Joaquin Joker, Warner Bros. / DC, and Snyder could try to adapt the 3 Jokers and bring in a 3rd Joker at some point? I absolutely love that idea, Sam. And I actually almost did the whole live stream about that idea today. I was thinking about creating a thumbnail for it. I thought it was going to be really fun. I might even do a video on it on the main channel. So yes. Seems to be that what actually happened was they could allow directors to deviate from the overall plan. But there's a stylistic difference. Hang on, I'm sorry. You got scrolled past. But there's a stylistic difference between Marvel films. Okay, so let me tell you a couple things, Sabrina, and I appreciate you. But let me tell you a couple things. Number one, there are no directors that do Marvel movies that personally direct the big action sequences. None of them. all of Marvel's action sequences are shot by a second unit that has actually been with Feige for years, and they know exactly how to shoot the Marvel action sequences. They shoot the action. Ryan Coogler did not direct action sequences for Black Panther. Taika Waititi did not direct action sequences for Thor Ragnarok. Now, was he maybe in the chair? Sure. But is he making the calls on those scenes? No. No, he is not. And in fact, a lot of Marvel directors have already come out and talked about this. That shooting a Marvel movie is like going to summer camp. Because everything's just ready. You just direct. And for some Marvel movies, there's more of a collaboration. You know what I mean? For some Marvel movies, there's more director influence. For some, there's less. The Russos seem to have directed some action, didn't they? Yeah, so the Russos are a slight exception, and only because here's why I think the Russo brothers are actually perfect directors for Feige's system. Just plain and simple, they're just functionally good. They're not even functionally great. They're just functionally good. So they can plug in to all the different things. But the Russo brothers also produced a lot. Especially after Winter Soldier. They were really brought in. Like on Age of Ultron, the Russo brothers and all the top brass and like the wizards that make up the producing collective that Feige has, the Russo brothers were in it. Much like Joss Whedon was in it pre-Disney purchase. Mm-hmm. Did you see that Grace said that there might be a teaser in the Robert Pattinson Batman for a new Joker in that universe leading into the next movie? Yeah. I didn't actually see that she said that, but I've been hearing a lot of people talk about that. And then it's maybe even going to be Johnny Depp. Wouldn't that be interesting? Regarding your video on the main channel, you said that you did not like Leto's Joker in Suicide Squad. Why? Can you explain? Yes, Will. I thought that okay, so here's what I'll say. I don't think we actually saw Leto's performance as Joker. Period. I think we saw some whack-ass takes that were cut together by executives and a trailer cutting company. Okay, so let's just start there. I reject the idea that what we saw in that movie is any way indicative of the performance that Leto gave. So let's start there. But as far as the performance we saw and the character that we saw, the character's horrible, dude. He's a horrible character. Like, that type of Joker is so ridiculously crazy that he couldn't run a fantasy football league, let alone a crime organization, let alone any part of Gotham seriously, let alone et cetera, second and third. That Joker would get his ass kicked by any decent Batman. Any Batman worth their weight in salt. That Joker, Batman might literally break his rule just to kill that Joker just because he's that much of a punk. I hate that Joker. Hate him. But I remain very excited to see Leto's actual performance. You feel me? Do you feel me? Do you understand? Do you understand? They didn't show him being especially good at anything. Yeah, that's very true. I actually kind of like Leto's Joker. It was something different and unique. I hope we can see the Ayer cut. Yeah. And it's cool. Look, I'm not going to dog you for liking the performance, but if you're going to ask me, I'm going to keep it a buck. You know what I mean? Leto was amazing in Lord of War. He really was. That's a great movie. I feel like DC finally got that they have 1,000 different versions of the characters. Anyways, we just want to see good movies. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, that's fair. Whoa, whoa, whoa. The psychosis is an intrinsic part of any Joker, where the criminal acts are secondary to the crazy. Not true. RF Gaming, just simply not true. The Joker in DC Comics has been depicted in many different ways, and it's almost a thing where every time you see the Joker, he's like completely different. He's like completely different. That's actually the premise of Three Jokers in some ways. So sometimes the Joker is crazy. Sometimes the Joker is crazy fucking smart. Crazy smart. Sometimes the Joker, I don't think is actually crazy at all. I think he's playing off of how crazy he thinks the world is. I don't think he was crazy. Like when Heath Ledger's Joker says that he's a car chase or a dog chasing cars, I don't believe him. I think he's lying. I think he's brilliant. You know what I mean? So it depends on, from the comic, what's going on. But I've always found the Joker to be a counterpoint to Batman in all the best ways. And to really, the function of the Joker is to show how crazy Batman is, really. Not to show how crazy Joker is. You know? Looking like you're straight out of Peaky Blinders. All right. That's cool. I feel like we've missed you say connective tissue today. Bam! Connective tissue. That goes out to you, Drew. Josh, do you think the Joker would have ever existed if there was no Batman? No. No, I do not. Which is one of my big problems with the Joker movie. That ain't Joker. Like, Joaquin Phoenix, that ain't Joker. Sorry. It's not. It's a cool movie, though. Does Lavis have a video on the main channel today? I don't know. I don't think so. How long would a plot armorless... What? How long would a plot armor... What? I don't understand that, man. Sorry. Speculation from CBC2. Andrew Garfield possibly spotted on Spider-Man 3 filming. Oh, wouldn't that be interesting? Wouldn't that be interesting? I thought Jared Leto was a good Joker for what they gave him. Never liked the look they gave him, though. Yeah, the look's pretty weird. A Batman with no plot armor. How long would he last in a fight or in real life is what he was saying. Dude, it's Batman. He would last however long he needs to. He's Batman. I want to see Hamill as live-action Joker. Think he would fit in the Reeves universe? Could. Definitely could. Interested to see what they do with Matt Reeves stuff, for sure. How long can I go without watching Mando before it gets spoiled for me on YouTube or social media? If you get spoiled via YouTube or social media, that's on you, Dan. Have you ever thought about not going on to social media when a pop culturally relevant thing is happening that you have not seen? You ever thought about that? That's on you, my guy. Ruben, good morning. Would you say it's the fault of the fans for lashing out against BVS, or would you say it's the studio's fault for not putting out the director's cut in the first place? A little bit of both, but really it's the studio's fault. It's the studio's fault. For sure. Let's talk Mendo. Do you think we will see the armor? Ooh, that'd be great, Will. I'd love to see the armor. And I think we will, actually. I just don't know like when or where, but I think we will. I think we will. I think it's been confirmed that she's in at least some episodes. I know. I'm sorry you won't be getting my views for a couple weeks. Hey, don't be sorry, brother. You got to take control of your life so that you have the right enjoyment. You know what I mean? This channel and this content is not for everybody, and I would be like stupid if I thought that was the case. You know what I mean? Warner Brothers needs to move on after the Flash film and cast the new Joker for their cinematic universe. Enough with AUS. I'm not sure what that is. What's the AUS? What you mean? Good morning, Vader's Podcast and Theories. Good morning. But if everyone wants to stop, you aren't watching or stopping them. Hell no, I ain't stopping them. New Rockstars pointed out that there was huge spider legs on Mando's ship when he was fixing it up in the caves, probably from the spider from Rebels. Could be. Is the Bendu there? Is the Bendu there? AU means alternate universe, like the Joker films and Leto in the Snyder Cut. Okay. The Armored was a badass. Dude, she was a total badass. Total badass. Yeah, Star Wars Santa talked about those spiders. Yeah. The sequel trilogy should have ditched the retread of OT vibes and made the basic plot of the new Rebels were the bad guys led by... Hey, that could have been interesting. That could have been really interesting. Eric actually found some things in the fucking dog shit trailer. Good on Eric, man. Good on Eric. Bob's your uncle. Punches the Joker's teeth out just for them to wind up set that hops around the floor. The clown print. I'm not sure what you're talking about. Oh, yeah. Micah, I saw it. I saw the lizard man. I don't know what it is. I got nothing on it. That would be cool if Zach brings in the Robin connection. That would be really cool. I'd like that a lot. Rahul Cooley better be Ezra, or there's going to be a whole bunch of fans who love him now that will be very disappointed. I agree with that. Yo, hey, Josh, I know this doesn't have to do with our normal nerdy news, but are you tuning into Khabib versus Justin Gaethje this weekend at Fight Island? Yeah, I will. Actually got to think about that. What time is it going on? Because I might actually be playing D&D. Might actually be playing Dungeons and Dragons at that point. And, look, I definitely want to watch that fight. But I'm also definitely trying to level my Warlock up. You know what I mean? Oh, it's like 2 p.m.? What? Okay, then I could definitely watch that fight. Main card, 1 p.m.? Oh, shit. I'm going to have to hustle out of the Nerdvenger stream. On the ball with producer versus director. Production value of a film can make or break it no matter how good the story or directing is. Yup. Daniel said Margot Robbie is being tapped for additional filming for the Snyder Cut. Thoughts and opinions? Sounds incredible. Josh, you think we're going to get Ayer Cut announcement anytime soon? I mean, Ayer did say he recently just watched it. I actually think what they'll do is quietly add stuff to it, and then after the Snyder Cut comes out, then they'll probably start teasing the Ayer Cut as like the next thing. That's what I think, but that's just speculation. Did anyone ever notice that Ted never talks in the TED Talks? Aw, shit. Josh, are you a fantasy football guy? No. Snyder Cut is going to have the whole universe in it. Yeah, it might. I'm so flattered you made a New York accent special. What? New York accent special forming Josh, even though I'm from Detroit. Oh, okay, right on. Josh, tell me about your Warlock. Hey, man, you don't want to mess with this guy. Name is Vorn. He's a Hexblade Warlock. He's missing a hand because he literally brought his friend back to life, and the entity that he serves removed his hand, but he's still badass. Oh, man, it's hard to fight against Habib, right? Or root against Habib. It's very hard to root against Habib because he just lost his father. I mean, he's a man of principle. I will say though, I like Gaethje a lot, and his coach is a very incredible coach. And in a setting where there's no crowd, having an incredible coach like that is really cool. And you really never know with the mental of Khabib. Because believe it or not, like I think when I went back and watched the fight with him and Conor, I actually think Khabib was a little too reckless in that fight. That fight is way closer than a lot of people give Conor credit for. And Conor basically blew that shit off. Conor was not in a good mental place for that fight. And Khabib, particularly in the third, which is when he drops Conor, I think, right? When he came out wilding like that, the only reason he felt so comfortable is because he knew Conor was gassed. And, yeah. I'll stop on the MMA stuff. I'm excited for the Snyder Cut, but I feel like they're pushing too many characters and plots with it, which is what they did with BVS. You really think that was the problem with BVS? The characters and plots? I had a meeting, so I missed the stream, man. Definitely going to watch it back. Oh, yeah, I think you'll like it. It's pronounced Habib, but you can pronounce it however you like because we're all going to die and it doesn't fucking matter. Yeah, prelims, main card starts at 2. Okay, rock on. No, it's going to be cool. If the Snyder Cut works better, believe the director's cut of Suicide Squad is coming. Oh, 100%. 100%. You ever going to review The Boys or make content based on that show? No. But that doesn't mean that the channel won't. Maybe next season, like Lavis or somebody else can cover that. I'm almost over The Boys, to be completely honest with you. I'm almost done with The Boys. But I'll still check it out, though. Ah, shit. Your Warlock lost his hand. He's already more of a Skywalker than Rey. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. That's it. I believe Affleck can still bring the bat. Oh, hell yeah, dude. Affleck, I'm so excited to see that dude as Batman again. Oh, man. That's nice. That's going to be nice. If the Snyder Cut does great, we possibly could get air cut. Sorry. I lost control of my thing for a second there. Is my voice normal for you guys? Or is it changed? Is it normal? Do you hear? Oh, there it is.
When you grow up, I don't want to listen to. So I've been playing Star Wars Squadrons, and I put on the voice mod, and I'll be like, let's crush the rebel scum. And I find it so fun to play Squadrons with this. What's this?
What's this one? Oh. Hollywood is over. Hollywood, it's over.
Yeah, we have fun over here. It's pretty cool. Pretty good time. All right. Let's call it there. Oh, God. Turn that one off. Okay, cool. All right, we're going to call it there, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for hanging out. Hope you have a good rest of your day. Check out the main channel later today, dropping an Obi-Wan Kenobi video. Hello there. Check it out. After Dark tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll see you tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. As I always say, I hope you're having an awesome and a nerdy day, and I'll see you in the next video.